Alert, fire and fury. President Trump doubling down on his warning to North Korea.
He does something in Guam, it will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before. It's not a dare, it's a statement.
Clearly, the president is totally fed up.
Kim Jong-un is not suicidal, and he knows if he attacks the United States, that will be the end of his personal life and end of the regime.
A federal judge is ordering the State Department to search its server for emails from key Hillary Clinton aides related to the Benghazi attack.
And President Trump waging a war on opioids.
The opioid crisis is an emergency. It's a national emergency.
He helped a lot the other day by pointing out that prevention is key. Because if we don't get this before it happens, getting addicts off of it is hugely difficult.
President Trump calling out the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
I just want him to get repeal and replace done. I've been hearing repeal and replace now for 7 years.
Donald Trump is going to make America great again. We're going to help him do that, and that's what Congress is there for.
She came bedazzled, waiting on Lifehouse.
Nifty camera work there.
We are almost halfway through today's telecast. We will be officially at 7:30. Lifehouse is our All-American Summer Concert Series performers, brought to you by our friends at Keurig. And as you can see, Famous Dave's got all sorts of stuff for us now.
We need to sell those little mops that he marinates the ribs with.
We need to
It's
sell
a miniature mop. I want one of those.
Say Fox and Friends on? Maybe.
Well, why not?
The whole brand of barbecue gear, Fox and Friends barbecue gear.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Brian is off and Pete is in. Good
Thank
to
you for having me. Appreciate
Great
it.
to have you here.
It's good to be here.
All right, let's talk about the news of the day. And, of course, the top story, once again, is North Korea. The President of the United States had a national security meeting yesterday. Fox News Alert, security briefing over at Bedminster in New Jersey, about 45 miles west of where we're sitting. He had the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, his Chief of Staff. It's interesting. He said China can actually do more in persuading that guy with the glasses and screen right there to do something. He said, however, he also said he would not be as hard on China regarding their trade policies if they are cooperative and try to squeeze that guy.
But China said they're going to stay neutral. China said they'll stay neutral if North Korea attacks first. If the U.S. attacks first, China will then step in.
A lot of
Clearly on the side.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this messaging is not just toward Pyongyang, but also to Beijing, to the Chinese, to say it's put up or shut up time. You better step up. He also we talked. I just dropped my pen. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
We just talked about. Should I pick it up?
Yeah.
Go. Why not?
Right.
We just talked about how he said fire and fury, and there's a lot of fury in the media.
Oh
about
man.
that.
People think that's too tough.
Too tough. Well, actually, the president thought a little bit different. Maybe not tough enough. Take a listen.
You'll see, and he'll see. He will see. It's not a dare. It's a statement. Has nothing to do with dare. That's a statement. He's not going to go around threatening Guam, and he's not going to threaten the United States, and he's not going to threaten Japan, and he's not going to threaten South Korea. It's the first time they've heard it like they heard it. And frankly, the people that were questioning that statement, was it too tough? Maybe it wasn't tough enough. It's about time that somebody stuck up for the people of this country and for the people of other countries. We're backed by 100% by our military. We're backed by everybody. And we're backed by many other leaders. And I noticed that many senators and others today came out very much in favor of what I said. But if anything, that statement may not be tough enough.
He also said that Kim Jong-un should be very, very nervous.
And I think he is. I mean, this is a president with great advisors and great instincts, and he understands strength is what's respected on the world stage.
But what's interesting is this is a completely different message than the Kim family has been getting from America's leaders over the last 25 years, and that's one of the reasons why, when asked yesterday over at Bedminster, so negotiations over, well, you know, we'll negotiate, but where has that gotten us so far?
We've sanctioned,
right here.
Exactly. We've sanctioned, we've negotiated, we've diplomated our way forward. Imagine if 25 years ago we'd taken out their nuclear capabilities instead of signing an accord. What are we going to be thinking 25 years from now?
Susan Rice just says we need to accept we're North Korea. She wrote an op-ed in New York Times, and we have a clip from that op-ed. She wrote, "But war is not necessary to achieve prevention, despite what some in the Trump administration seem to have concluded. History shows that we can, if we must, tolerate nuclear weapons in North Korea, the same way we tolerated the far greater threat of thousands of Soviet nuclear weapons during the Cold War." Yeah. What do you think about that? Should we tolerate North Korea?
No. I don't think so. Meanwhile, Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California has a plan. She thinks that we should find out exactly what North Korea's got on their mind, what they want, and then should we give it to them? Here she is talking to TMZ.
I think there's some things that they want from us, and we have to find out whether or not we can work with them on the things that they're asking for.
What are they asking for?
We had Dr. Sebastian Gorka on with us 2 days ago, and he said that throughout history over the last couple of decades, what North Korea has been asking for is essentially extortion. They are saying, we're going to get bombs and we're going to try to blow you all up, world, unless we get money, unless we get food, because we are poor and we don't have food.
It sounds great to be able to say, yeah, let's negotiate. Let's give them what they want. We'll work with them. But this is a leader that killed his half-brother and his uncle to get into power. This is not a normal leader. This is someone who is a dictator. He controls the media over there. He controls what people think, what they say, what they're allowed to do. This is a communist leader.
He's the opposite of freedom. You spoke of his brother, who he assassinated. Well,
half-brother.
Half-brother. Governor Mike Huckabee had a tongue-in-cheek tweet about that yesterday. He said, POTUS has dispatched Maxine Waters to North Korea to talk to Lil' Kim. After a half hour with Maxine, he will drink whatever he gave to his half-brother, meaning you wouldn't want to spend that time talking with Maxine Waters. What I will say is that statement is exactly what the left's foreign policy has been for 100 years. People forget World War I. Woodrow Wilson said we can have peace without victory. Think about the idea of a world war where you get peace without victory. Sometimes you have to confront the most evil ideologies in the world with a force of arms or the credible threat of arms in order to get what you want. Barack Obama, Woodrow Wilson, all these guys through the line had this fantasy that we live in a utopia world where freedom just comes to us if we just understand people, listen to them, sit down with them.
And where has that gotten us?
That's exactly how we got in the peninsula of Korea. It's how we're going to get there with Iran, too, and the Iranian bomb, which is even more threatening to us.
Well, Rush Limbaugh had something to say about it, too.
He did.
Just as outspoken as you are. Listen.
They've been worried about Trump going off script for months, and now members of Congress are worried that his blunt and provocative warning to North Korea could lead to war. What does this mean? It means that wimpism has taken over the Washington establishment, that wussism and wimpism and pajama boyism has taken over. North Korea is a zit on the butt of a pig, and there's no reason to be afraid of it. Would we run around acting afraid of a zit on a pig? Mr. Limbaugh, they get nuclear weapons. Yeah, they can't hit the side of a barn yet, for crying out loud. What are we supposed to do? Just sit here and wait until the real one is airborne and hope that being gentle and compassionate and unprovocative will stop this lunatic from doing what he's doing? Is that what we're to believe here? That we adopt the Obama pajama boy method here? I mean, that's exactly how the North Koreans and the nukes got their nukes. The Iranians got their nukes. Is this pajama boy liberalism way of life? We must show them mutual respect. What did Hillary say? We must respect our enemies. We must try to get inside their heads and try to relate to them and blah, blah, blah. And that's called smart power. No, it's not. It's called how to lose.
It's true.
So there you've got Rush talking about how, keep in mind, North Korea said by the middle of the month, they're going to try to shoot 4 intermediate-range missiles around Guam. And as Rush just pointed out right there, at this point, they can't hit the broadside of Guam.
We're sorry to make you think about a zit for breakfast, But it was so good, that soundbite, we had to play it.
That's right. The foreign policy intelligentsia on both sides have turned into wimps because they believe this globalist international sort of council on foreign relations, we can just talk our way through it with some sanctions. It's also nuanced. We don't do war anymore.
We can tolerate it.
Yeah.
We can tolerate it.
It's the new normal, Steve.
We asked you what you thought about the comments thus far. Miguel sent this email.
I feel so safe with President Trump in the White House. I love the way he is standing up for the USA.
And we've got an email from Bill that says, Dems thinks POTUS should have said bunnies and kittens, not fire and fury.
Oh, boy. Donnie's also on email. He says, the president is right on North Korea. Enough said.
It's textbook stuff. You don't set red lines you won't enforce, so he hasn't set them. You don't tell the enemy what you're going to do because then they can calculate against it, as he said. And his advisors are right there. You know they're talking about what can we do to prevent a war.
Sure.
But you prevent it by making sure they think you'll fight
When you're talking about nuclear weapons, you have to be proactive. You can't be reactive because then it's too late.
Yeah.
Right. And it was amusing watching the president during his 2 press conferences yesterday. One of the reporters said, okay, so what are you going to do about that? And he goes,
yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. Hello. Weren't you paying attention to my campaign? Well, I'm not going to telegraph the game.
Secretary Mattis did say military solutions are in place, and the reporter said, do we have a military option? He said, of course I do. Of course. That's my responsibility. And I can't read the rest of my handwriting.
It is a little
to have those.
Yeah.
Et cetera,
all right, let's hand it over to Jillian, who has some headline story.
You guys, I don't want to know everything because that just opens us up to so many things. I don't need to know all of that.
Right.
We just need to know we're safe.
Yes,
General
absolutely.
Jack Keane yesterday made us all feel a little better.
Yes, he did, that's for sure. And we do have some breaking news right now, so let's begin with the Fox News alert. A major win in the war on terror under the Trump administration. The U.S. military just confirming they carried out 2 massive drone strikes on al-Qaeda-affiliated terrorists in Somalia. The strike happening near the capital of Mogadishu. The AP reports the successful attack killed a high-level al-Shabaab leader. Earlier this year, President Trump authorized the military to launch operations against the most lethal terror group in Africa. President Trump officially declaring the opioid crisis a national emergency as drug overdoses rise at horrifying rates. Fox News Medical A-Team's Dr. Mark Siegel joined us earlier, saying the fight against drugs starts with educating doctors.
When you really think about it, who writes these prescriptions? It's physicians. And 50% of physicians writing it, Ainsley, are primary care doctors, not even pain specialists, not even back specialists, you know. Or the key problem, and we were talking about this, is they give out too many pills.
The declaration is expected to waive health regulations, expand access to treatment, and make overdose antidotes more widely available. A Southwest Airlines employee is being called a guardian angel for going the extra mile to return lost luggage to a cancer patient. Stacey Hurt panicked when the bag she needed for chemotherapy did not make it onto her flight to Pittsburgh. But when customer service agent Sarah Rowan heard her story, she tracked down the bag, and get this, she personally delivered it to Stacey's doorstep at 3 o'clock in the morning. Sarah also left a sweet note telling Stacey to, quote, kick that cancer's butt. You see a story like that and you realize we need more people in the world exactly like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Stuff.
Yep.
Thank you, Jillian.
Well, as the threat from North Korea grows, what would a Navy SEAL do who's also a governor? Well, Missouri Governor Eric Greitens is a retired SEAL, and he joins us live next.
And if you're an American citizen, you need not apply. The big company that just got busted because they were favoring foreigners. What's that about? Stick around, folks. It's Friday on Fox and Friends.
Headlines 24/7 at Channel 115.
Let's see what he does with Guam. He does something in Guam. It will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before, what will happen in North Korea.
That was President Trump yesterday afternoon warning severe consequences if North Korea carries out any sort of attack. So how should the president handle this growing international threat? Joining us right now is somebody who's got some special insight. He's a former Navy SEAL who's seen plenty of combat, the current governor of the great state of Missouri, Eric Greitens. Governor, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Great to be on with you.
Okay, so you heard the President of the United States yesterday say, you know what, maybe fire and fury, not far enough. What do you think about how the President is proceeding right now with its threat from North Korea?
Well, look, I can tell you, Steve, having served as a Navy SEAL as part of the greatest military on the planet, we've got men and women in uniform who are prepared to respond to these threats from North Korea. And I'm very, very glad to see the President and Secretary Mattis standing up strongly to these threats, and we are prepared. There are military options that are on the table.
All right, so while the president takes care of our national defense there in Missouri, it was last month you ordered a crackdown on crime. Why?
Well, you know, we had too many people throughout the state of Missouri, and particularly in the city of St. Louis, who are dealing with and living in what was one of the most violent cities in the country. Murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, all happening in what is a great city in St. Louis. But, you know, my own wife, Sheena, was actually held up at gunpoint. This is affecting too many families.
Wow.
Yeah, my own wife, Sheena, was held up at gunpoint. And so what we did was we brought in a special operations unit of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. We're working with the DEA, the FBI on a Mission Safe Task Force, because for too long politicians have talked and talked and talked about these problems, and we are taking action to deliver safer streets to the people of Missouri.
Absolutely. However, bad news out of your state last Sunday. Officer Gary Michael was apparently murdered after the crackdown started. Do we know anything about the guy who did this?
We do. So he is, the suspect is currently in custody. And yeah, this was just another senseless act of violence against a police officer. You know, Officer Gary Michael was an Army veteran, had 3 children, 1 grandchild,